coming up on Marriage Today with Jimmy and Karen.
So if you're going to have successful communication, remember your spouse isn't like you. They don't need what you need, and they don't hear like you hear. If you're a man speaking to a woman, talk security, and you will succeed in communicating with that sister. If you're talking to a man, speak the language of respect. You can say anything. You're an equal. Communication is the way we know people. I mean, you can't know a person in marriage unless you communicate. It's how you fall in love. It's how you become one. I mean, it's how we understand the other person's heart. It's how we talk about problems. It's how we resolve issues. It's how we talk about needs. It is so important. You know, when you're fighting an enemy, one of the things they want to do in war is to cut your communication lines. They don't want you communicating with each other, because once they cut your communication, they can confuse you and defeat you. So in marriage, the enemy does not want us to communicate, so he's always trying everything he can to violate and cut the communication lines within our marriages. And so I want to talk about just the importance of communication in marriage, because in communication, men and women are very different. We're just created different by God. And let me give you some examples, and that is one of a woman's most important needs is the need for communication. Now, this is not true for men. It's not saying that men don't want to talk. I love communicating with Karen, but communication is as important to women as sex is to men. And that's what I say to men all the time, for men to understand it. Because men understand sex. They understand how powerful our need for sex is. Well, Karen, when we got married, you know, I didn't like to talk. I mean, I like to talk a little, but she just wanted to talk all the time. And she wanted to talk about everything. And when I came home from work and stuff, I thought she was nosy, you know. And I just thought, I don't want to feed that monster. And where'd you go? Who'd you see? What'd they say? How'd you feel about that? I was like, this is a boundary violation. And you need general information about where I've been and what I've done, but my feelings are my feelings. But that wasn't good with her. But one of the things that healed our marriage is when I started talking to Karen and understand this is what connects her to me. This is what connects her to my world. And what she needs is patient, loving communication. So here's my little speech. And you may have heard my little speech before. Here's my little speech. Okay, so women typically don't need sex as much as men. But what I say to women is be more sexual than you feel. Your husband has the need for sex. You have the gift of sex. And God gave you that gift so that it would draw your husband back to you constantly. Don't despise that. It's a precious thing that keeps your husband coming back to you, and it's important to meet that need. Be more sexual than you feel. That's my little speech to women. Here's my little speech to men. Okay, I just got through saying something really wonderful to your wives, because that was a biggie. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. Here's my little speech to you. Who cares if you don't want to talk? You talk. I just told your wife to be more sexual than she feels. I'm telling you, you talk more than you feel. And you come home, and when she wants to talk, you talk. And don't give her headlines. You open up. You do it with your friends. You do it with her. And she says, what'd you do today? You don't say, nothing. Filled up my truck. Went to work. You say, honey, I woke up this morning at 6:37. I didn't actually open my eyes, but I came into consciousness. I was feeling a little insecure about my meeting with Bob. And just that's what she wants to hear. She wants to hear. And she needs every now and then, get a nail, just stand here like this, poke yourself and cry. It's big points. Big points. And I drove down the street, and the dog had been run over. Like she goes, oh, really? Oh, really? I love it. Oh, you cried. So, give it up. Give it up right there. And so that's it. So it's not your need. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you don't need to talk at all, but it's not your need, but it's your wife's need. So women are different in this area, and men need to respect their wives' need for open, patient, honest, emotional communication. And it's wonderful. I just tell you, I've done it for years with Karen. I like it as much as she does now. I don't know if I'm kind of getting girly or not, but I'm just telling you. But here's another difference between men and women in communication. Men are emotionally modest. Women are emotionally immodest. Now this is men are physically immodest, and women are very physically modest. And so when women have sex, they are very modest. And so they want, doors shut, lights off, children anesthetized. It's a careful environment, because they're very physically modest. Men, just anybody anywhere. So, but it's a difference. But men are emotionally modest. Now, we don't talk like you talk. If you're ever in a restaurant, you have a table of women over here and a table of men over here, listen to the way they talk. And you listen to the women talking and they're saying, well, did you know that Barbara is going through a real difficult time with Sam? Really? Oh, yes, she called me the other day and said she's just devastated and said this and this and this and this and this. And they're talking about relationships and they're talking about feelings. They're talking about real stuff. That's this table. The table of men over here says, Bob, did you get your muffler fixed? Yeah, I did. And yeah, I'm going to go to the Cowboy game the other night. Really? Did you go hunting? What'd you kill last weekend? Well, I killed a 7-point buck. And that's the way men, how'd you feel when you killed that deer, Bob? I felt real good. I felt hungry. We're not going to talk about our emotions. We don't do that. We're emotionally modest. So women, when they have sex, because they're physically modest, very, very private, don't tell anybody, don't talk about it. This is between us, dark room, locked door, everything's very careful. That's the way we talk. That's the way men talk. See, women are emotionally modest. They'll just say anything to anybody. They're just unguarded. That's just the way God made you. We're not that way. If you want a man to talk, if you ever tell somebody what we said, we'll never tell you anything again. We don't like that. And so you get us in a room, you lock that door, anesthetize those children, and we're going to sit down and talk in a very careful environment. And when we open our heart, you be careful how you respond, because we're very tender on the inside. We really are. Men don't open if you're sarcastic, if you're judgmental, if you're mean-spirited, anything like that, a man will shut down on you, because this is the Holy of Holies. Women are tough. Women can argue with each other. When a man's heart rate goes above 100, he can't hear. We just can't do it. We just zone out. It's like women are so tough emotionally, and women can just talk about their emotions and just argue with each other like that. And men are just like grabbing guns, and we're just like, don't you talk to me like that. Women are tougher than men emotionally. It's just the truth. The way you talk to your husband is keep him calm. Is you honor him, you respect him, and you let him know every word you're saying to me is sacred, and I will not share it, and I will not take opportunity with it, and I won't use it against you later. We're different than you are. Ladies I have the greatest respect for women and the way God made you, but you need to understand, we're just not that way. And even to this day sometimes with Karen, we'll be talking or something like that. It's just hard for women to understand the way we're wired. And so I will open up, but I will not open up in the same environment that Karen is willing to be opened up in, because I'm emotionally modest. That doesn't mean I won't talk. It just means it's a different environment. Here's another difference between men and women. We hear through our deepest needs. Now, this is a huge, huge issue. Listen to what I'm saying. A man's deepest need is the need for honor. This is our mega need, the need for respect. This is the need above all needs with men, even above sex, is we want to be respected. And it's not egotistical, it's the way God made us. We want to know that we're a good man. We want to know that you respect us. That's big, big deal for us. Women's number one mega need is security. They want to know that their husband is tuned into them, and sacrificially, he will meet their needs. Sacrificially, to his own hurt. When a woman knows that her husband's tuned in and to his own hurt, he will put her first and meet her needs and the needs of the family. She's in heaven, okay? So when we communicate with each other, we have to encrypt our language with their need. An example is this. When a man, I didn't realize this about Karen, but see, she can decode my language very quickly, okay? She knows if I'm speaking security or not. It doesn't matter what we're talking about. It doesn't matter what the conversation is. Here's what she wants to hear me say, encrypted in this. I care, and I'm tuned in, and I'll do whatever it takes. My heart is turned toward you and our family. I'll say no to anything else, and I care about how you feel. When I'm talking with that tone in my voice, Karen's very calm and very reasonable. But when she hears a tone in me that says, I'm disconnected, something else is more important than you, I'm checked out, she's on high alert. And I can't calm her down. And I can sit there and say, what are you so upset about? Like that. She said, because this, I don't understand. My heart's not there. I've got everything I say to her. If it's going to be successful, it's got to communicate security. I'm tuned in, it's okay. But I'm different. When she talks to me, and I've said this to Karen, especially early in our marriage, I said, the way you say it's more important to me than what you're saying. So whatever you're going to say to me, if you want me to hear it, you need to say it in the right way. Here's what a man needs to hear. I believe in you. You're a good man. I love you. You're the best. I respect you. And you can talk about the kids, you can talk about work, you can talk about spirituality, you can talk about your needs, you can talk about your hurts or fears or anything like that. But you come with your guns loaded and you make us feel now as though you don't respect us and you don't believe in us. We can't hear. It's a jamming frequency. When men are speaking insecurity, it's a jamming frequency, and women just can't hear because their alarm is going off. When a woman comes at a man and makes him feel like, you're a bad man, you're not a good man, I don't believe in you, it's a jamming frequency. It doesn't matter what you're saying, and it doesn't matter if you're absolutely 100% right. You've made it much harder for me to listen because of the way you're talking to me. So if you're going to have successful communication, remember, your spouse isn't like you. They don't need what you need, and they don't hear like you hear. If you're a man speaking to a woman, talk security, and you will succeed in communicating with that sister. If you're talking to a man, speak the language of respect. You can say anything. You're an equal. But say it with respect and the tone of your voice, and you'll succeed in talking to that man. Let me say this. Same is true of little girls and little boys. If you're going to talk to a daughter or a granddaughter and successfully communicate with her, she needs to hear the language of security. If you've got a little boy or a young man that you're trying to influence, you have to speak honor to him because he's just a little man and she's just a little woman. Any one of the opposite sex that you're communicating with, you have to understand they're different and they have to be talked to in that way. Let me finish this message. Just let me tell you the 5 standards of successful communication in marriage. Those are the common problems that people understand. These are just standards that you have to use in successful communication. The first is caring. The first standard is I care. Now, here's a very simple principle. You can't communicate with a person who doesn't care. It's just impossible. And if someone doesn't care about you, you don't have a chance in the world of effectively communicating with that. And so you know when someone cares. And here's how you communicate care. It's body language. Your body language tells your spouse. It tells others if you care or not. Your countenance. The way you look at them when they're communicating. If you're rolling your eyes, if you're turning your head away, that's not good. But if you're looking at them and you're making a good response and you're listening to what they're saying, you're feeding back, say, yeah, I understand. Yeah, I hear that. And like that tells a person that you care. That's number one. You have to care. And you have to communicate care to communicate. Number 2 is praise. The Bible says we enter his courts with thanksgiving and we enter into his courts with praise. God will never let a negative person into his presence. He won't. We enter into God's presence with praise, but remember, we're made in the image of God. This is the Holy of Holies. You can talk to me in a disrespectful tone, but you're not getting in here. And you'll never influence me till you get in here. And same is true of men and women. This is universal. If I'm going to ever be successful in communicating with Karen, I have to begin with a positive tone, and I have to praise her. Negativity destroys marriages. You can say negative things, but you have to be careful how you say them. And you earn your right to say those by saying a lot of positive things. But praise means this. When you come to me and you praise me and you focus on my strengths and don't become critical and focus on my weakness, I'll open my courts to you, and that means my heart of hearts. You enter into my gates with thanksgiving, and you enter into my courts with praise, because I'm made in the image of God. And when you become critical or negative, man or woman, you're not going to get into my heart. And we're not going to be intimate. We're not going to have a good marriage. We're not going to successfully communicate till we're communicating on a heart level. You can talk to my ear any way you want to. That's called noise. But if you're going to communicate with my heart, it is the Holy of Holies, and I'm not opening the gates to you until you praise me. And praise is a discipline that keeps us focused on what is right. Praise gets you to remember why you fell in love with that individual. And when praise leaves, criticism always comes, because there's no such thing as a void. You don't have a marriage where there's no praise and no criticism. When the positive goes, the negative comes in. So we keep the negative away by positive. Focus on positive things. And when you, by the way, when people argue, and this is proven in research, a conversation never rises above the level of the first 3 minutes. Never. When you start a conversation negatively, by accusing, by criticizing, by coming at your spouse aggressively, you have doomed the communication, and you need to stop it and walk away and come back in an hour or two and apologize and start again. Because you don't start a conversation by accusing and being negative. You start a conversation by saying, I love you and we're on the same team, and I'm committed to our relationship, and I'm glad I married you. We need to be positive. Number 3, standard is truth. We need to speak the truth to each other. Now we need to be careful how we do it. The Bible says in Proverbs 3:3, bind mercy and truth to your neck and write them on the tablet of your heart. And then Ephesians 4 says, speaking the truth in love, we grow up into all aspects into Him. Mercy without truth is a cheerleader without a team. Truth without mercy is surgery without anesthesia. Truth without mercy is mean, and mercy without truth is meaningless. We need both of them. We need to be kind in what we say, but we need to speak the truth. We need to give each other the right to speak the truth. We need to have an atmosphere of truth. All dysfunctional families either have no communication, they're silent, or they just don't talk about the truth. There's an elephant, white elephant, standing in the middle of the room and nobody talk about it. That's what a dysfunctional family is. A functional family says, we're going to talk about the truth. We're going to talk about our feelings. We're going to talk about real issues in our relationship, but we're going to do it in a loving way. And so give your spouse the right to tell the truth, and you tell the truth. And be careful how you do it, but have a truthful relationship. That's where intimacy comes from. Number 4 is faith. This is a standard in communication. You have to have faith. Without faith, you become mean. In fact, 1 Peter 3 talks about women being able to change their husbands without a word as he observes your chaste and respectful behavior, and it talks about there the gentle and quiet spirit. A gentle and quiet spirit is not a mousy spirit. A gentle and quiet spirit is a woman who has faith that when she speaks, that God's on her side. I don't have to be the enforcer. I've got God on my side. I used to bully Karen verbally. After I repented, I would say something to Karen and I would become forceful with her. And one time Karen said to me, Jimmy, I wish that I could just take a recording of what you say and play it back to you, and you would realize the way you talk to me. This is what I said. I don't talk to you bad. I don't agree with that. The difference between the old Jimmy and the new Jimmy is the new Jimmy had faith that if what I was saying was right, that God would be the enforcer. You have every right to say anything you want to say. Are you the enforcer or is God the enforcer? Because if you have faith that God's the enforcer, you're going to say it and walk away and pray and be at peace. You're going to have a gentle and quiet spirit, whether you're a man or a woman. But if you're the enforcer, you're going to nag, you're going to browbeat, you're going to punish, you're going to bully, and you're going to divide the relationship. Faith. I have faith that if I speak the truth, that the power of God is going to take it and change your life. God's big enough to change you, and if I'm wrong, He's big enough to change me. That's the 4th standard. And the last standard is surrender. I surrender my mouth to God. This mouth belongs to God, and it will be used by God. What we have right now in our full Marriage on the Rock seminar is the fullest and most complete and most updated seminar that I've ever done. And it includes the issue now of blended families, the most important issue in marriage, the 4 foundational laws of marriage, how to understand and meet your spouse's needs, finances, sex, in-laws, all of those kinds of things are covered in Marriage on the Rock. Right now, for your gift of any amount to support the ministry and mission of Marriage Today, we go across America and all over the world helping people succeed in marriage and helping little children stay together with their parents, helping people to achieve their dreams and to keep the nightmare of divorce and family problems from happening. And so if you would support us right now, we'll send you a CD single called The Most Important Issue in Marriage. And it is the most important issue in marriage. It's the most important marriage teaching you'll ever hear, I promise, for your gift of any amount. For your gift of $50 or more, we're going to send you the full 10-part audio series, Marriage on the Rock, all the teachings included, with the Marriage on the Rock book also. For your gift of $110, I know some of you, $50 would be a sacrifice for you, $20 would be a sacrifice. Some of you can give $110, and for that, we'll send you the DVD series. All 10 sessions on DVD, plus the Marriage on the Rock book, and plus a bonus book, Happy, Happy Love, which gives you the secrets of how to stay in love. We want you to get these important resources. Here's how you can do it.
Marriage on the Rock, the best-selling book and series, is the essential resource to having the marriage of your dreams. Through this power-packed series, marriage expert Jimmy Evans will show you how to deal with real-life challenges and offer easy-to-understand solutions that will transform your relationship. Jimmy will address all the major issues a couple will encounter, like communication, finances, sex, kids, his and her needs, blended families, and much more. For your gift of any amount, you'll receive the CD single, The Most Important Issue in Marriage. For your gift of $50 or more, we'll send you the Marriage on the Rock book and CD series. For your gift of $110 or more, you'll receive the book and DVD series, plus the Passion Reigniting Happy, Happy Love book. Discover God's design for your dream marriage. Whether you've been married for years or just preparing for the journey, experience Marriage on the Rock today.
As I said in the teaching, this right now is on communication in marriage, our program today. And communication is the lifeline of marriage. And a lot of times there's a communication breakdown because we don't understand our spouse and the different things that I talked about on today's program. But here's something that I want to leave you with today in this program, something so critical. And that is, our needs are different. In Marriage on the Rock, and this is the Marriage on the Rock seminar that this teaching is a part of today, and it's a 10-part seminar series. But I talk about how to understand and meet your spouse's needs. When you're talking to your spouse, you need to understand they don't need what you need. And I'm sure you've already, learned that one, that, you're just thinking you're doing a brilliant job of communicating and they're totally frustrated and they get mad at you. And you're thinking, what's your problem? I'm talking. And sometimes that actually causes the communication to shut down. You always have to remember in marriage, you're talking to someone different than you are, and they'll never be like you. Karen and I have been married for almost 40 years. She's not like me. She'll never be like me. To this day, we'll be communicating and she'll be getting frustrated and I'm just thinking, what's wrong? And I have to remember, she's a woman. She's wired different than me. She needs things different than what I need. And so here's what I'm saying. We all hear through our needs, especially our deepest needs. We hear, it's a filter that we hear through. And one of a woman's most important needs is the need for security. She needs to know that her needs are going to get met sacrificially by a stable man who's tuned into her and will sacrifice to meet her needs. So when you're communicating with a woman, she can pick up on selfishness, distraction, frustration, all those kinds of things. And you can be saying, honey, I love you, and this and this and this, and you just think, man, I'm saying everything right, and she's getting madder and madder. She can hear whether you're making her feel secure or not, whether you're sacrificial, whether you're tuned in, and whether she's first. She can hear that. And what I find with Karen that calms her down and opens her ears to hear what I'm saying is when I speak to her through the filter of you're first. No matter what else I have to give up, I won't give you up. And when I speak that way, she's in heaven. With me, my number one need is honor. And so regardless of what else that she's saying, I need to hear her, the tone of her voice, say, you're a good man and I respect you. We can communicate in marriage, but we have to remember we're different and we both hear through our greatest needs. You know, I hope that this program today is a blessing to you. You know, when we come, Marriage Today now is across America, multiple times a week on multiple networks, plus all over the world, over 200 nations that we're in, and we're thrilled about that because we love helping people to succeed in marriage. But we can only do what we do because of the partners that stand with us financially. And we are so thankful for all the people who have helped us financially. It's the only reason that I'm talking to you right now. And again, I hope this program and this ministry is a blessing to you. Will you help us keep coming back to you and also go to many other people across America and around the world? We have a very important group of people called our Rock Solid Partners, and they support us every single month. And for that, they get a special resource that no one else gets called our Dream Marriage Library. This is a special resource, the first and best of all of my marriage teachings and messages, and some special things that Karen and I do just to be a blessing to you. And we have different levels that you can support us on, but when you support us, you're making a difference in marriages and families around the world, and you're gonna get blessed in a very special way. We want you to be a partner. Here's how you can do it.
When you stand with Marriage Today, your individual effort multiplies with other like-minded partners, and together we can rebuild the dream of marriage for couples around the world.
I would recommend becoming a Rock Solid Partner because you are grafting into a group of individuals that are committed to restoring marriage to this country, and that's something we want to be a part of.
In pursuit of this vital mission, Marriage Today utilizes a daily television broadcast, multiple live events, a comprehensive online outreach, and hundreds of marriage-building resources. Your partnership is literally making every facet of this ministry possible. And that means couples are receiving the help and hope they need to take their marriage to the next level of fulfillment and intimacy.
We enjoy the resources, we enjoy all of it, but I think just knowing that we're touching the lives of so many other marriages, creating an atmosphere for them to get the help they need.
Being a rock-solid partner with Marriage Today grants you immediate access to an exclusive library of the ministry's resources and intimately connects you with our mission of helping couples succeed in marriage.
We're proof that the ministry is beneficial and that it works. It has helped to save us, and that means that our children get to grow up with two parents in a home together. It makes a difference in our lives every single day that I couldn't imagine not being a partner.
Everyone has something to give, and there are millions of unreached couples who desperately need the marriage-strengthening resources of Marriage Today. That's why we need you to join us. Become a rock-solid partner with the ministry and mission of Marriage Today.
Thank you for watching Marriage Today with Jimmy and Karen. Support Marriage Today with your best gift and receive the series Marriage on the Rock. Don't miss the next Marriage Today simulcast, XO Houston. Host this event at your church or find a host site by visiting marriagetoday.com/simulcasts. Become a rock-solid partner today and connect with the mission of Marriage Today. Together, we can help couples succeed in marriage.
This program is made possible by the generous support of our faithful partners.